Here are 5 answers to 5 questions I get asked a lot. It's a fucking shit show. What you think you see, what you think you hear, that's what it's about. Mood and atmosphere. No, it's fucking garbage. It's garbage. Mood and atmosphere. Now that I really like. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see. Hey folks, how you doing? Dave McRae here. Yes, that's right. In this video, I want to do something a bit different. I want to have a bit of fun today. And, okay, quick backstory. About a week ago, I asked my assistant, who generally helps me with my voiceover career in terms of the scheduling with my agents and my buyers and all that kind of stuff. But they've also been helping me with this channel. And we're doing our very best to take this channel to the next level. Slowly but surely, but we're doing it. And we're having a blast. And so I asked them about a week ago to go over to my Facebook page, facebook.com/manythingsdavemccrae. Link is in the description. That's the Facebook page that is associated with this channel. And that's why at the end of each and every one of my videos, probably at the end of this one, I always shoo you over there if you want to follow me on Facebook. And I asked them to go over there and look at the messages that I receive, because I receive a lot of them, and compile a list of about five, a top 5 ones that I get asked a lot. 5 of the ones that I get asked a lot. And we probably could have compiled a list of like the top 10 or 20, but I said, let's just start with 5 and keep it simple. So they said, okay. So yesterday they came to me with a top 5 list and said, this is generally, I went through probably about 100 of them, maybe even more. And this is generally sort of the ballpark of what I'm seeing, a top 5. So I said, great. So I'm going to do a video on that. So that's why I'm doing this. Now, for those of you that don't know, I've had that Facebook page since about September, October of 2017. And now it's January 2019, and I have about 1,500 or 1,600 people that follow and like the page. Now, I understand in the big picture, that's not a lot of people. It's not like 30 or 40,000 or 100,000, but it's still 1,500 or 1,600 people. And when I first began that page, I would average maybe a message a week. Not a big deal. I could respond to it personally, no problem. Well, now, and it's been this way for quite a few months, I average not one word of a lie. I'm averaging probably about 35 to 40, maybe even just a smidgy bit more messages a day. A day. Now, some of them are, hey man, love your work. Just want to say, I like what you do. Keep up the good work. No big deal. But a lot of them are very intricate and detailed. And then at the very end, they say, so what do you think? Do you know what I'm saying? Now, listen, I want you all to know that I appreciate you messaging me so much. And I do my very best to read each and every one. But when you are receiving 35 to 40 a day, it's not possible to keep up with them. And certainly not possible to respond in the ways that I would like. You guys know me, I'm very thorough. So, but don't stop sending them, because my assistant does read them and I do my best to read them as well. So I just want you guys to know that, okay? I do appreciate it very much. I think you guys rock, are awesome, but it's not personal if you don't hear from me, okay? Okay, so having said all that, I thought this was a good way to kind of, kill quite a few birds with one stone. So we've taken a top 5 and I will do my best to give answers to them. So let's do that. Okay, let's go over to the top 5. This is in no particular order, by the way, okay? But these are just 5 ones that they were able to see quite a bit. Okay, number 1. How do you handle trolls and bullying? It's a really good question. I'm hoping this is not somebody who's bullied themselves. I apologize if anybody is bullied, because obviously it's, that's not cool. Okay, the short answer is, how do I handle trolls and bullying? The short answer is, I don't. The longer answer is this. This is what you guys have to keep in mind about me, okay? Is that I come from a media family. My father was a very prominent and respected Canadian columnist and journalist in this country. He passed away in 2011. But throughout his career, which spanned about 45 to 50 years, he covered everything from the Mike Tyson trial in the early 90s to Princess Diana's funeral. He's met the Beatles, Liberace, Robert Kennedy, Donald Trump, sports figures, presidents, prime ministers. I mean, it was quite the career he had. And he wrote, but he was the kind of writer that he would write his opinions and he would write what he felt was the truth. He never got into any sort of scandals or things like that, but he could make you cry one day from something beautiful about something going on in the world that he wrote. And then he would piss you off the next day about something else, right? So he was the kind of writer that you either loved or you hated or you loved to hate or whatever the case was. And I remember as a teenager in the early 90s going into my dad's office at home, because he wrote from home primarily. And I remember going into his office, and this is long before, well, I mean, really it is. It's before the internet for all intents and purposes, and it's certainly before social media and all that kind of shit. And my dad actually had physical hate mail, I guess, or angry readers or whatever it was over something that he had written. And my dad would read a couple of them to me. And I remember asking my father, how do you handle that? Like, does that not bother you what this person is saying? And I was young, 12, 13, 14. And he said, no, he said, son, this is what you have to understand. The question is not, do they like you or hate you? That's not the question. The question is, are they reading you? And I sat there and I thought, wow. And it even resonated with me then. I thought, that is the question. And my dad, said the same thing that I say. He said, now, I always hope that people like what I read, and I hope that people agree with me, of course. But at the end of the day, I have no control over that. At the end of the day, I have no control over who likes me or who doesn't like me, so I don't get caught up in it. I don't care, and it's true. And as a young boy, I adopted that same mindset throughout my life. No troll, no bully can get under your skin if you don't give a shit. If you genuinely don't care. So when I started to put my face out there on this channel more in 2017 talking about Halloween, I knew in my mind, I said, okay, well, these are my thoughts. These are my opinions. I'm going to put them out there. And if you agree with me, that's awesome. If you don't, that's okay too. I don't care. I'm not here to confirm any biases or just toe a party line. I'm here to tell you what I think. And that's how I feel. And I think most people who come to this channel respect that, look for that, and appreciate that about my view. That doesn't mean we're always going to agree, but at the very least, you know that my opinions are my opinions based on this, and that's how I see it. And I think there's a certain level of respect that you can have in that. At least I have a boatload of respect for other channels that have that outlook as well. So as it relates to modern times in terms of, YouTube and that kind of stuff, the question is not, do they like you or do they hate you? The question is, are they watching you? And yes, people are watching. And for the most part, people enjoy what I have to say and the insight that I bring to the table. So yeah, so hopefully that answered the question for those of you who have been wondering. And keep in mind, for those of you that are feeling that way, are bullied or trolled, just remember, they can't get to you if you genuinely don't give a shit. Just keep doing what you're doing, guys. Be you, and let the chips fall where they may. Okay, number 2, how do I start a YouTube channel? Well, I think I know what they mean. It's very easy to start a YouTube channel, but I think what they mean is how do I do a YouTube channel and it become successful? Okay, well, there's no magic trick really at the end of the day, but what I've learned over the course of the last year, now, again, I've had this channel since 2006, okay? I've had it for 13 years, but I only started to put my face out there in 2017 on a consistent, regular basis. But this is what I've learned, okay? Consistency. Find something that you know a lot about, okay? Find something that you are passionate about, that you are passionate in talking about, or, expressing your views and opinions on, and stick to that, okay? And be consistent with your uploading. All right? Don't just upload one video a month. You have to be consistent with your uploading. Once you develop a following, okay, a certain level of success and a following, then you might be able to, 1 week you don't upload, right? And you're suddenly not going to lose all of your subscribers because, well, they're there, they're committed to you, they know what you offer, they know what you are, they know what you're all about. So you can take a week off over Christmas or whatever, and it's not a big deal, right? But in the beginning, you have to be very consistent, and be consistent with your schedule. So if you feel that you can upload 2 videos a week, then do it. But don't promise 2 videos a week if you can't do it, okay? That's why I say, stick to one video a week and go from there. See how it goes. But if you're somebody like me who works from home, who works in my home studio, dishing out voiceovers for, buyers all over the world, I have easy access to come into my studio here and do a quick video if I please. But not everybody has that, right? A lot of people work a 9-to-5 job outside of the house. So my advice is find a topic that you are passionate about, that you know a lot about, that you feel that you have value in, that you can contribute. You can contribute and bring value to whatever that topic is, and insight that other people might not be thinking about, okay? And be consistent with the uploads, whatever that consistency is. And make sure your thumbnails pop, okay? That would be my advice to start. Are there other things? Yes, make sure your keywords are solid. Make sure that your titles are solid and not misleading. Make sure that your titles are not clickbait and all that kind of shit, right? But at the end of the day, that's a good place to start. Find something that you're passionate about, that you know a lot about, and that you feel you can bring insight to that not a lot of people are talking about, okay? And be consistent with your uploads with thumbnails that pop. That's it. Don't try to do what everybody else is doing, because then you'll just blend in with the masses. Try to stand out, whatever that means to you. Okay, let's go to question number 3, which is, Dave, why do you hate all the Halloween sequels so much? Okay, well, first of all, I don't hate all of the Halloween sequels. I just hate the vast majority of them. All right, I'm going to try and be as quick as possible because I've said this ad nauseum on this channel. I'm a big fan of the original Halloween and the original intent of the Michael Myers character and the original intent of what that movie was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a one-off film. It was created and executed as a standalone movie. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the message of that movie comes to its climactic moment at the very end when Laurie Strode says, "It was the boogeyman." And Dr. Loomis says, as a matter of fact, it was. And he looks over the balcony and Michael Myers is gone. Oh my God, holy snap and crap. That was the message of the movie. It was the boogeyman. And the fact that he's gone says that he's there. He's always there. He's everywhere. And you hear his breathing when you see the shots of where he was, because he's out there in the ether, in the shadows. He is and was the boogeyman. That was the message of the movie. That was the whole point of the movie. There was no need for a sequel. And I'm a big fan of the original intent of that, and it's, as a single film on its own, it's brilliant, and it's not that there aren't cheesy. Look, it's dated, okay? It's 1978. There's quite a few things in that movie that I find a bit cheesy and a bit dated now, but I certainly can look at it objectively and say, yes, this is great. The whole message is there. You don't need any more, which is why Carpenter didn't want to do a sequel, because he's like, why? I've already done it. But I can appreciate Halloween 2 for what Halloween 2 tried to do, picking up where Halloween 1 left off and tried to make it feel, a little more organic, like it was one movie with 2 separate parts. And of course, but in order to keep the movie going, they had to expand on the backstory, which was a huge mistake, and introduce the brother-sister story arc in the 3rd act. And I understand why they did it, but the brilliant move was Carpenter killed Michael Myers in the fire. Okay, you open it up, but at least you killed him. So I can appreciate that movie. And Dean Cundy was the DP, and Donald Pleasance is back, and Laurie Strode is back, and Sheriff Brackett is back, and the performances are solid, and it's got some great mood and atmosphere in the hospital, and it's pretty cool. So I can appreciate it for what it was. But beyond that, I mean, even 4, I like 4. I don't love 4. There's things about it I like. But even beyond that, it's repetitive, it's redundant, it's annoying. And then Michael Myers becomes just like everybody else. And he's not just like everybody else. He's special for a very specific reason. I'm sorry, but he works best in small doses, and he has an expiry date. He has a shelf life. The mystique and the wonder and the magic of Michael Myers works best in small doses because of how John Carpenter created him. He's not a Jason. He's not a Freddy. He's not a Pinhead. He's not a Chucky. He's not a Ghostface. He's not a Leatherface. Okay? He's got a very specific set of identities about him that make him stand out. And the more sequels you make, you dilute and you water that down, and he becomes just like everybody else. I mean, listen, in H2O, we're seeing his eyes. We're seeing his mask in broad daylight. you know? And in the original film, when we saw his mask in broad daylight, it was always from a distance, by the bush in the distance, by the car through the window in a distance, because the symbolism of that was he was coming. He was that storm on the horizon that was coming, right? So that's why I don't like any of the Halloween sequels, because for me, it strays so far away from the genius of what that first movie, and okay, that second movie had a little bit of that, was. And by the time you're at like 5 and 6 and Resurrection, and it's just like, this is dumb. This is dumb. And they're fucking shit shows. And look, you know, when it comes to Halloween 2018, you guys know how I feel about that. I didn't hate that movie at all. I thought it was a good modern day horror movie for what it was, but I think there was a lot of missed opportunities in that film. And what they did well, they did very well, which makes what they didn't do well that much more frustrating and annoying. So I don't think it's a particularly great Halloween movie, and it certainly doesn't need a sequel. I think Laurie Strode actually should have sacrificed herself in the fire to save her daughter and her granddaughter, and her and Michael should have burned together in the fire, and then you wrap it up that way. I do have a Halloween concept sequel idea video coming. I'm still working on it, but that's not an endorsement that I think they need to make one. I don't think they do. I enjoyed it for what it was, and it was nice to go home and reminisce, and there's some really nice things in that movie. Oh, absolutely. And it's certainly one of the better Halloween sequels, hands down. But at the end of the day, it's like, where are you going to go from there? You know what I mean? Like, it's because of the way the character was made. He's special. He's not like everybody else. So it's not that I hate sequels, but I do hate the vast majority of the Halloween sequels, because I think they water down who Michael Myers was, and they become just like every other fucking horror movie, in my opinion. Anyway, okay, number 4 is Jason, Freddy, Michael crossover. No, I'm not a big fan of crossovers. I wasn't a big fan of the Freddy versus Jason. I thought that, for the most part, was a fucking shit show. And I just don't like the idea of having these iconic... I understand that this has been going back, you know, years. I mean, we had the Wolfman and the Mummy, and we had Dracula and Frankenstein, and this is not uncommon for two horror giants to cross over into one universe. I'm just not a big fan of it, and I think it's because I'm too emotionally attached to their own identities and their own shit, and I just like them. It just, for me, it kind of dilutes the specialness of them. Now, you may disagree, and that's fine, but I kind of like them standing on their own. I'm not a big fan of all these crossovers. Hey, what about Jason versus Leatherface versus Chucky? I'm just like, nah, fuck, I don't just let just let them be. Not a big fan of crossovers. And number 5, can you read my script? Unfortunately, no. And this is not personal, but I get a lot of requests from people can I read their script and give some feedback? I'm far too busy, guys. And in order to read a script, and because I actually care, okay, I don't want to just say, yeah, I read it, it was good job. No, I actually care. I want to give you constructive feedback. I want to give you pointers. I want to say, maybe you should do this instead of that. This is too long. Get rid of that character. Take that character out. Maybe you should add this. That takes a lot of time. A lot of time when you actually genuinely care about giving that kind of feedback. And I do. So that's why I don't. It's not personal. I just don't have the time. My advice would be is to get yourself into some circles where there are fellow filmmakers like yourself, or even fellow screenwriters, aspiring, or maybe with a little bit of experience. Get yourself into a group, a Facebook page, whatever it is, and start making friendships, or at the very least, online sort of acquaintances where you feel comfortable in sharing your script with people that may not only have the time to do that, but the invested interest in doing that, because that's what the whole thing is about. Do you know what I'm saying? So reach out to other people who share your same passion and who would be able to give you some positive feedback. Not never, but don't just get your script read by your mom or your dad or your husband or your wife or your brother or sister or your best friend. Okay? You have to get a completely objective set of eyes, because your mom or dad is more than likely going to say, "It was great, son. It was great. You did a great job," because they don't have they're just, oh, I'm so proud of you, so proud of you, Hercules, Hercules. I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, let's get some objective, constructive feedback, right? And sometimes it can be painful, but it's for the better. And that doesn't mean you have to agree, okay? But that's my advice. Surround yourself with people get yourself into a position where you might be able to pass that off to somebody who has that sort of time. Unfortunately, as much as I would love to, I just don't have that kind of time. So no, but it's not personal. But that's my advice. Get yourself in, join some Facebook group pages, join a meetup page, or get in contact with other filmmakers who would be able to take a crack at reading it. I think that would be really cool. Anyway, yeah, so those are 5 questions that I get asked a lot, and those are my answers to those 5 questions. Anyways, folks, my name's Dave McRae. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. Are you satisfied with these answers? Let me know. Would you like me to do another video where I answer maybe 5 more questions that I get asked a lot? Comment below and let me know. If you want to follow me on Facebook, you can at facebook.com/manythingsdavemcrae. That's where I tend to post in the meantime and in between time when I'm not posting here. Link is in the description, as well as links to all my other sites as well. So yeah, in the meantime and in between time, I will talk to you guys soon. Cheers.